me get the exact number.
Cool. Just let me know like at the end or something.
All right.
You can also just print an extra copy just for Cassie as well. Because that's always good to have. Yeah, I can just print. Yeah, print an extra copy.
Cool. So we're gonna have round one right now between Zang and Moxie. So I've shown up mid-match. So it looks like we have a great Tuscan for right now. Ooh, the crit. Yikes. That's not what I want to come and sit down on. Flare Blitz into the Tusk. Another crit. Wow. A double crit. That is insane. Okay, King Gambit Ghost. I believe this is game 1. The King Gambit is terrestrialized. It seems that Zang has 4 Pokemon. And he's deciding if he wants to go for a sucker there. I think Zang right now, just from what I came back to on stream, is Zang is in a pretty dominant position at the moment with a bundle threatening both the Tusk and the King Gambit pretty well. All the King Gambit can do really with its speed right now is press that sucker punch. But even then, you're only targeting down the bundle. And bundle has a decently, and it does go for the protect, avoiding that sucker punch, that potential sucker punch. Tusk also goes for a protect. It's really up to what the Arcanine wants to target here. It could go for a blitz into the King Gambit here. Yep. And that is going to pick up the King Gambit, unfortunately. Even with that Ghost Terra typing, it will not be able to avoid the super effective hit from Arcanine. And now with an Amoonguss and the Tusk being weak to this Iron Bundle is going to look kind of rough. He's going to try to go for the double protect here to potentially try to outplay this bundle. He doesn't get it, unfortunately. And the bundle is just going to go for the freeze try and pick up the KO on the Great Tusk. And Arcanine might just Flare Blitz here and just pick up that. Oh, it does not pick up the KO on Amoonguss, but even so, the Amoonguss has not really any board presence or pressure that it could put onto this bundle here. The bundle should be able to just click freeze dry and wrap up this game.
Yeah. I gotta admit, that was a pretty interesting set, or at least of how it's going.
Yeah, that game 1 was super, super nice. As we can see here, I think Moxie has a super interesting team. There are a couple Pokemon on here that I would say aren't necessarily the most meta. For example, the Rotom Heat and the Frostmoth particularly are surprising picks to me. But looking at their movesets could be super interesting.
Yeah, but like, would you say that's solely because like Frostmoth, say, has Wide Guard, Reflect, like a very defensive Pokemon is going to be able to peel out for a lot of people?
Yeah, there's a lot of things in the meta right now that Frostmoth is just decently good into right now, and it can actually put your opponent in some awkward positions for sure. But I believe we are going to go to the game 2 here. That might be, I'm not sure if that was game 3 or 2. Okay, so it is going to be the game 2 or 3. We are going to see how Moxie adapts here to Zang's game plan. We did get to see the Baxcalibur come to the back, so maybe that information may like dictate how Moxie wants to play out this next game. I think Moxie does have the tools to kind of work through Zang's team, but it might be a little difficult at times. I think the Baxcalibur is also an interesting pick by Zang here.
Just check scores.
And it's super, super threatening into his team.
All right, I'm back. Honestly, I kind of like the Frostmoth look.
Yeah, so do I.
You're seeing Zang walk out, I would say, with like a pretty confident offensive team.
Yeah.
What are you looking at like for this next play set? Are you like looking for the Amoonguss and Great Tusk kind of be more defensive, be more setting?
Yeah. It's kind of difficult for Moxie here to position the Tusk, I think. Fluttermane doing lots of strong special attack damage along with the Iron Bundle puts a lot of pressure on the Great Tusk. And Amoonguss is also awkward to kind of bring into those because the Amoonguss is just going to get freeze-dried. And it's not Citrus Berry, so it's not going to get that immediate recovery that maybe he would have liked into a matchup like this. So it's kind of awkward, I think, for Moxie right now. to bring the Tusk. And as we saw like last game, it's kind of a liability at times because if you position it poorly, it just kind of sits there. And you have to go for plays like that double protect, which didn't work out.
I mean, they do have that opportunity to attempt to switch it up. They're running back into it. I don't think Blake really wants to be falling, into that losers just early on. So I could see this working, honestly.
Yeah, as we saw, he actually didn't bring Tusk this game, so I'm interested what game plan is going through his head at the moment.
But you're dealing, I don't know. The more that I've seen this Fluttermane come out, especially in this scene, I think I've just been a little more scared of what it's capable of doing.
It is a fast Pokemon. It hits strong, a hard fairy ghost typing is super offensive, super strong. We are going to see a Hands and Fluttermane lead here and a King Gambit and Moongus. Moxie, he did bring the Tusk. I could have sworn on TV.
No, yeah, he brings the Tusk, but I mean, isn't King Gambit like really good as like the final Pokemon? Why do you bring it out first?
Yeah, so King Gambit, I think it was trying to maybe catch that Arcanine lead. Arcanine kind of threatens a Moongus with a Flare Blitz, but this King Gambit is actually running Defiant. So when Arcanine switches in on that Intimidate, it's actually going to get a plus attack instead of a minus. But King Gambit is actually in kind of an awkward position here because Iron Hands is threatening a 4 times weak Drain Punch. So the Amoonguss is kind of forced to Rage Powder here so that the Hands doesn't just kill it.
That's fair. I mean, at least the Shadow Ball is going to lower that special defense. You're going to get a bit more room, but
that is massive damage. Yeah, Fluttermane does not have the best defense. So it is going to usually die to that Kowtow. But luckily that's and you have to Drain Punch there. But he Rage Powers it away. And this is where like a Citrus Berry on the Amoonguss would be super nice because you'd get at 50 when you hit it, you get more HP. And it would just be super beneficial for Moxie to have it instead of the helmet in this situation. And he is going to go for a Ghost maybe. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Shadow Ball has the potential to pick up the Amoonguss.
Yeah, I would say, even though you've taken out Fluttermane, it's not worth. You're going for a big risk terrestrializing this early on. You're not getting that big defense. You're not getting much of it. But wait, we actually might see a switch.
I like this a lot more for Moxie. I also think Sucker Punch is a potentially good play, but that's kind of risky no protect. He's going to go for it into the Fluttermane, just so the Amoonguss maybe doesn't get picked up. But I think if you're going to do an active move like that, you might just want to press Spore into the Iron Hand since you know it's AV. This is kind of a very passive play that could be punished, and it is going to be punished into that Sucker slot. He's just going to switch in the back Excalibur. Yeah, and that's threatening the Amoonguss that just protected as well.
I would say more of a good reason why you don't terrestrialize that early. You could save it, kind of be a bit more prepared.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they are walking out with it, and it's not going to be the worst idea. But I'm scared on the fact that now you've got that big dragon in here. You've got that big tank of the Iron Hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if King Gambit or really Amoonguss can really shut that down.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate too because yes, you Ghost Terrestrialize and avoid the Drain Punch. Oh, he does go for a Voltage too. But you go for the Ghost Terrestrialization, and even if he Drain Punches it on the slot, King Gambit isn't doing that much damage into the hands anyways. It's more so threatening the Fluttermane. And now that that's not on the field and he Volt Switched out, Moxie's kind of in an awkward position now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they still have that opportunity to just decide what they want to switch into. And I want to say, like, it's not a tough choice into what they want to decide, but I feel like you really need to set back your pace.
Zang has a lot of options. He's just going to switch into Fluttermane again, maybe to potentially bait out another Sucker Punch. He does go for the Spore into that hand slot.
I would say that worked out well. I mean, Fluttermane's going to die regardless.
Yep.
Shut that down. You have a bit of a safe option for how you're going to go.
Yeah. And there's actually a funny interaction that can happen here as well. If the Fluttermane chooses to go for an attack and he were to Sucker Punch into it, even though it's asleep, he still gets the Sucker Punch off because it was going for an attack.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And back Excalibur here is kind of threatening the Amoonguss, but he is going to switch out the Amoonguss, which I think is the smart play to capitalize the Fluttermane being asleep and getting health back on the Amoonguss with the Regenerate ability. The back Excalibur usually wants to go for an Ice move in that position, but let's see if Zang outplays and maybe just targets into the King Gambit.
Yeah, I don't see them really going after the Amoonguss, but it's completely understandable when you're stuck into that, like, rock and a hard place trying to decide what your opponent's guard. But yeah, look at that. Yeah. Icicle Spears. Ooh, not.
It's going to do a lot of damage because it's no longer a Steel type, too.
Yeah.
Oh. So I break it to 50.
See, that was the big concern I had when they terrestrialized and going into Ghost.
I mean, the crit. And then 4 times.
4 times.
Oh,
okay, that's going to be the limit. But.
Oh, low kick does a lot. That's within Sucker range, too.
That is true. That is true.
So I think if Blake positions himself and kind of like keeps chipping his Pokemon, Zang won't have as many defensive pivots. And if he can deal with the hands in the back, he could just get everything in Sucker Punch range and just
Yeah, but the bats could always predict what's going on. I mean, they do have Protect. You
yeah,
could try and like read the room, figure out what your opponent's going to do. That Sucker Punch misses. That's going to be a big blow for at least for the pace.
King Gambit is like a decent spot right now. I'd say he's just gonna go for the Sucker Punch to the back Excalibur. And this Rotom is Scarfed. I'm not actually sure if it outspeeds this Flutter Mane because it is Sash, but we're about to find out in a second. It does go for the Protect, like you said,
All right.
to bait out that Sucker Punch. But does Flutter Mane wake up here? Or is
No.
Rotom faster? Let's find out.
Rotom's a little
Rotom
faster.
is faster with that Choice Scarf, allowing it to outspeed that Flutter Mane, which is kind of big. Because the Flutter Mane did wake up and like Shadow Ball, the
Yeah.
King Gambit would just be dead.
It's all of. I think is it really all just about keeping King Gambit focused into this fight?
I think so. I think it's if you can get your King Gambit in a position and you can deal with the hands, which he has the great Tusk for, you could be in a super, super good position. So maybe bringing in Tusk here would be smart to maybe call out a hands switch in. Amoonguss is a little bit passive, so I'm not too sure about that. I think if you bring in Tusk here, you're putting a lot more pressure onto something like the hand switch in. We aren't sure what's in the back, but it also still could be an Arcanine. And I would think that Zang is a little bit like, it's awkward to bring Arcanine in because you don't want to give the King Gambit a Defiant boost and providing it more support or giving it even more power.
You're absolutely right. That almost feels.
Oh, he does bring in the Amoonguss.
Yeah, the Among Us I at least expect. That spore is immensely powerful. They're sending in
Yeah.
their second Pokemon. So if it's the Arcanine, though, I'm a little worried of how we're going to be seeing Moxie kind of protect the team.
Yeah, and Amoonguss does have that Rage Powder, luckily. And the Arcanine isn't Safety Goggle, so it's not going to be able to avoid it. It's Citrus Berry.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know.
So even if Amoonguss dies and eats a Flare Blitz, sometimes that's all you have to do is you just need it to redirect a large damage move. It is going to be Bundle in the back. So that means Bundle and Hands are in the back.
How much does this really change from them?
I don't think it changes too much. I think it's still kind of the same game plan. Even Freeze Dry or Flare Blitz, it's still going to be doing lots of damage to the Amoonguss. And as we saw last game, I think the way this Amoonguss is EV'd, it actually might eat a Freeze Dry from this bundle, which would be super nice. So all really Moxie has to do, again, is press Sucker Punch. He doesn't need the King Gambit anymore, really. He has a Scarf Rotom, which should be outspeeding the bundle if he switches it out. The King Gambit is just there to press Sucker Punch. And maybe Zang can outplay that by switching in Hands for backs. I could see that potentially. Low kick into the back Excalibur might be nice just to not outplay that. And then the Amoonguss is going to go for a Protect, I believe that was.
It's going to save them for... Oh!
Yeah, he's going to switch it out to avoid the Sucker Punch play.
Okay, that's fully understandable. I don't want to see that Pokemon walk out. At least you got a reliable partner here to protect you.
Oh, he does go for the Rage Powder. That is going to redirect the Freeze Dry potentially, and the low kick is going to go off of the... Let's see if it lives. It's actually going to do it. It lives!
I'm a little...
Just like game.
I'm a little impressed.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Too.
Now I'm curious.
That's crazy.
What do you have to do to get this Among Us this tough? You know, it's not just full IV.
It's the power of friendship, baby. It's everyone knows if you like play the game with your Pokemon, like if you've ever played like the story. Ooh, there's a DC.
No way. They're not even playing on Wi-Fi.
That's Scarlet and Violet for you.
They're not even playing. How do you get a communication error?
That is Scarlet and Violet for you. That is unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. I'm gonna go see what's going on or what they're gonna
That
do.
is unfortunate.
I honestly I thought if you don't play online, you can't have a communication.
You would
error.
think that. It happens at regionals though. Oh man. That was a crazy position though. That game was actually super close too. It is unfortunate that we are not being able to watch the rest of that. Honestly, I think Zang was in a decent position to win still. The bundle was at full HP. And we had an Amoonguss at 2. Like, yes, it could switch out, but the pressure of Freeze Dry and Hydro Pump into both those slots is just super, super threatening. And I think Zang would have had the benefit of the doubt in that matchup. But with that DC, it's going to be kind of unfortunate. And we're going to see where we're going next. But I do think there are lots of interesting choices on this team. Some that you normally wouldn't expect, I think, on this kind of comp. For example, on Zang's team, he has Citrus Berry Arcanine, which could be super difficult sometimes because you want Arcanine to be your Amoonguss switch in because it's starting with that Flare Blitz and you don't necessarily want it to be put to sleep. But Citrus Berry also makes sense on this kind of team where you want to bulk and outbulk other Arcanines maybe and other Mons. And it can be super helpful depending on how his Arcanine is EV'd to kind of potentially stay on the field longer and do more damage with that Flare Blitz and just be annoying with the Will-O-Wisps and Snarls. On Moxie's team, again, is super interesting. It's unfortunate we didn't see Frostmount this game, but I don't really think you bring it to this game. I do think the Tusk was maybe going to put into work, but again, with that Focus Sash, it would allow it to maybe live a freeze dry, but the positioning is kind of awkward. The Scarf Rotom Heat definitely could have come up in clutch as well, doing lots of damage. Since we know that Zang's bundle is booster energy, it does not have that Focus Sash, and therefore a Thunderbolt from Rotom Heat could be super devastating. But it's awkward because its booster energy does make it faster than the Scarf Rotom if positioned correctly as well. The Rocky Helmet, like I said before, is kind of awkward in this matchup. You really want that Citrus, for example, in that last KO. Since it was under 50 HP, it wouldn't have been living at 2 HP right now. It'd be living at a little bit more, maybe around the 50 HP range. I'm also interested in the Salamence, which has a lot of interesting moves on it as well. Like not the normal Salamence spread at all, and definitely not what I would be expecting on this team. But it makes sense with things like the Great Tusk to have the opportunity to go for an Earthquake that allow it to do lots of spread damage while avoiding hitting its teammates. Salamence being a flying type, that Rotom Heat having Levitate, just super creative team for Moxie, to be honest. And Zang's too. Like I said before, you don't normally see the Baxcalibur and Garganacl has kind of fallen off in usage, but it definitely is still a potent damage. As we learned with Sword and Shield, chip damage is everything. If you've ever played against a G-Max Colossal, you would understand what I'm saying. But Solid Cure from Garganacl is definitely putting in a lot of work when it's brought to the right matchups. For example, into the Dondozo stuff, it could definitely be doing a lot on the field. It's just sitting there, pressing recover, and doing that amazing chip damage to any water or steel types, or even into non-water or steel types. It's just chipping away at your opponent. And sometimes that residual damage is all you really need into an opponent. And we are going to see here that they're going to try to fix this DC. So if you could bear with us while I try to fix this as well, that'd be appreciated. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the commentary today, though, and you are enjoying these games. They're super, super exciting. I'm very excited to be at the first real Philly local out in a big place like the Long Arena. And they are just going to search the codes again. So hopefully we are going to be able to find each other in this game, and we'll be able to have this game play out. I'm not sure what the ruling would be. I believe it's based on board position, but we're going to find out what they rule here. I also just noticed Zang's Fluttermane has Parasol, which is super interesting position-wise, but it makes sense with things like the Garganacl in the hands to kind of threaten the fake out and the, again, just protect, recover. So we are going to see them locking their teams here. I'm assuming they just bring the same leads as they did last game. Yeah, they might just try to replay the turns as much as they can, but it's kind of like a gentleman's thing here. What's also interesting is on both of these teams, there's a decent amount of Protect, 3 Protects on Moxie's and 4 or 5 on Zang's, which Protect has been kind of a debated move in this generation, as most teams, like, it's like, why am I protecting when I could just be doing something with my Pokemon? And that's kind of the logic. But me personally, I like the defensive pivots and the defensive capabilities of Pokemon with Protect. We are going to see the game play out here, and I believe this is just going to be a recreation of what they did before. Meaning we are going to see a Drain Punch and a Shadow Ball from this Fluttermane. Yeah, so they are just going to replay out these turns. And debating damage rolls as well. For example, at the very end of that game, that Amoonguss could die to the freeze drive potentially, depending on how it's EV'd, of course. But hopefully, there's nothing like that. And we are going to see the Amogus drop below 50 again. These turns are just going to be replayed out. But it's interesting to think what the players might do differently after the turns are replayed. Maybe they're thinking right now, how could I play this differently? How could I have done this differently? Or how maybe I can go into a game 3 and change my game plan. I'm not sure if they're replaying the turn. They should be. They should be replaying the same turns. Welcome. Did you? There was a DC this game.
I heard.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate. I'm not sure if they're replaying the same turns. I don't believe he went for a spore.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
he
doing
did.
the same turn.
Okay, okay.
They're starting out like very similar, but after the first turn, they are going back to what they
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to see the same Flutter Mane switch again to kind of call out that Sucker Punch. And it's into the back Excalibur, and they're going to replay this out. But like I was saying, like it's super interesting to think maybe like where they're going to go after these turns are replayed out, kind of what's going through their mind at the moment.
Yeah, like because they're basically doing everything the same again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we just kind of played in the future.
Exactly. And it's also like insightful since it's a game too. It's kind of insightful to maybe like look at it again and even replaying at the same turns kind of helps you think of a game 3 plan as well, a potential game 3 plan.
Absolutely.
Oh, we are going to see a Grass Terror here to just stop the spore. And this is also interesting because the hands now isn't affected by Rage Powder because it is that grass type. And it is going to go for a Thunder Punch, calling out the Terastallization. And he actually spores into the Flutter Mane to call that switch. So the way Moxie just played, he's like, okay, yeah, you're not going to get Sucker Punched, but that slot that you switch into is going to get put to sleep. And that puts back Excalibur in a position to not really do damage to the Amogus. And Hans isn't really doing that much damage to it either.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate moment of just trying to figure out how you want to save it. I mean, we may look into a switch. I think it's just more because King Gambit could possibly, like, take out a good quarter or one shot of your health.
Yeah, we saw how much that King Gambit just took there from the Thunder Punch. So it actually is going to eat another one. Not comfortably, but it definitely will eat another one. And it threatens like Iron Head into the back Excalibur, and it's not like you can switch Flutter Mane in that slot either. Amogus, I believe, went for it has Sludge Bomb, which is not a common move, but I guess it is to hit those grass types, like the Grass Terastallization. Also, chip damage into Flutter Mane.
It's a good prediction. You know, when Iron Hands is popularly Grass Terastallite, so
yeah. It is AV though, so I'm not sure how much damage it's gonna take, but I don't expect it to be a lot. It is going to be Flutter Mane. So yeah, like I said, it's just going to probably die to this Iron Head. Yeah, and it is faster than that Hands as well, which is super important for Moxie to know in a potential Iron Head flinch situation. Thunder Punch is going to eat that.
What? That's one more eat, quite possibly?
I don't think it eats another one, but I think what it was actually interesting on this Pokemon too is the Amogus doesn't have Pollen Puff, which would have been an amazing move to go for right now. Is it's kind of eating these Thunder Punches, and Amogus normally would just go for a Pollen Puff into the King Gambit slot and just heal that damage back up. But now Zang is going to bring in the Iron Bundle, potentially threatening a KO on the Amogus, and to be honest, the King Gambit as well with a Hydro Pump if he wants to hit that 80% accurate move.
You know, honestly, what makes Iron Bundle so good? Because I think I've just been out of the loop so much. I know why Iron Hands is understandably strong. But what makes Iron Bundle so good?
So Iron Bundle, especially this one in particular, has an item called Booster Energy, which on all the Paradox Pokemon will boost their highest stat depending on how you EV train it. So in this case, the bundle, as it told you, it has a speed boost. So it is the fastest thing in the format.
My goodness.
And it outspeeds everything. It outspeeds a lot of things under Tailwind as well. And on top of that, it gets Icy Wind. So it can control the speed even more.
That's ridiculous.
And something like a Scarf Rotom, since you're playing 1-for-1, it's a 1.5 boost as well. So you're outspeeding the Scarf Rotom and potentially threatening a KO with Hydro Pump.
That's insane. I mean, like the Rotom comes in though.
Yeah.
It should be able, I would say, to tank this shot. Yeah.
It's going to easily eat the Freeze Dry, which is the smart play here. The Iron Head does a lot of damage to Iron Hands.
Only lasts for one more, but
yeah.
King Gambit, yep, as you said. Oh,
yeah.
And a crit.
Crit didn't matter, but the Thunder Punch is going to take down the King Gambit. The Amogus is going to get HP back, but I'm not sure even how much it matters. Like, yes, it's going to potentially redirect this, like, Hydro Pump, but it's like you're just in a position now where you kind of have to target either the hands or the bundle. Because remember, the hands is grass terrestrialization. So if you click Rage Powder with a Moongus and you potentially miss like an overheat or something, you just Drain Punch the Rotom and you gain all that health back.
Oh, it's a very scary decision. I honestly, I would say Moxie cannot take this very hesitantly.
Yeah. And I even a Tusk Switching is really risky because again, it has Icy Wind. So he could just Icy Wind and be faster than the Tusk. Tusk is already a slow Pokemon.
Yeah, but the Protect, I mean, you could just try and bait it out, but even then.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a confusing move. You have to outpredict your opponent. That is.
Yeah, but this is awkward here too, right? Because the Great Tusk and the Rotom, it's kind of, since it's scarfed, you can't go for a Protect. And the bundle is just free to go for a Hydro Pump. Okay, yeah, you're switching the Amoonguss. Who cares? I'm just going to press Drain Punch into your slot.
On the bright side, some good damage. This Iron Hands is going to fall this turn, which is going to reset the pace. But
it does go for a Protect. Actually, maybe trying to predict the Amoonguss switch in, and if it goes for like a close combat or something. It does go for a Discharge, actually.
Yeah, the Discharge is going to help take out that Iron Bundle. I mean, the Iron Hands, which is really good right now.
Yeah, it's going to live, though, because the Grass resists it and the AV. But he actually does call the Protect, I believe, and doubles into the hands.
Yeah.
And that's actually a super like devastating combo. Is that Tusk has Earthquake, and with the Levitate, it's avoiding it and can go for the Earthquakes, not damaging your target. And the Discharge will allow, like, since Tusk is a ground type, you can just press Discharge Earthquake and go for massive damage and not target your ally, which is super nice.
Yeah,
but now this bundle's in an awkward position.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's gonna be an interesting point to see. I mean, once again, still asleep. So, Iron Bundle.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you kind of want to get rid of the bundle, right? Because the Baxcalibur is asleep.
Yeah, but then why go with for the Discharge when you have an Ice type on the field that's solely for that bundle?
Yeah, so it's like it's weird because bundle is actually physically like strong as well. It's like 120, I think, and actually can eat. I don't think from a Tusk, but sometimes like you live like a Drain Punch from hands, which is insane to think about.
That's actually insane. Yeah, that's.
And then you still go Discharge because you want chip on Excalibur while doing damage to
you don't want to have to play the Protect game like you talked about before.
And another disconnect.
No way, that's real. How is it?
Maybe it's a dock thing. It might be a dock thing. Oh, that's insane. That is unfortunate. That is actually really unfortunate. That is another disconnect. Same error code as well. Again, another really interesting game. I think Zang was going for a Protect there, maybe to call out an Amoonguss switch in. But, Moxie just said, I'm just going to press Discharge. If you want to kill my Rotom, go ahead. But that means my Tusk still has its Sash intact. And that means I'm going to be able to press Earthquake or Close Combat in that case. But I think it's kind of weird there, right? Because you want your Rotom Heat to low-key go down there. Because yes, you get your Amoonguss in for free. You're not risking anything. And then your Sash is still intact on your Tusk.
Right.
And you have the potential Protect game plan and stuff like that. But it is super unfortunate we had another disconnect there. It's just man.
Yeah, they're going over.
Moxie's gonna take that.
Okay, and they're going to go with their game three.
Yeah.
Without another DC, hopefully.
Yeah, without another DC, hopefully.
You said they're going into what? Game 3?
Yeah. So that means Zang and Moxie are going to have the information of both of those games. 3 games now. They're going to have information on, which is super interesting to go into now.
I'm not gonna lie. I really thought Zang was gonna win that.
Oh, do you want the team sheet as well?
I thought.
Well, again, that's what Moxie has, Sash, Great Tusk, which is super interesting because you're just you have to target into a Tusk pretty much.
Yeah, because if Baxcalibur woke up, it's
but the thing is, right, is Baxcalibur, since it just got put to sleep and it didn't get to attack, it had 0 turns of sleep. So it's always guaranteed. I don't believe so. I think it's always guaranteed that 1 turn of sleep.
I thought it got attacked.
Yeah. So what you do, right, is since the Iron Bundle just protects it, you can just close combat into it for free, and then you can close combat the Baxcalibur. But to be honest, Baxcalibur has a high BST, so it actually might need the close combat. But Tusk is also equally as strong. So it really depends on how these trainers have EV'd both of their Pokemon. But super well played from Moxie. I think navigating a potentially difficult matchup is kind of like exciting to watch, right?
Yeah.
Even in that, like both of those disconnects, it was super exciting to watch, and just kind of understand how both the players are playing. And I think Zang now, knowing how Moxie has been playing these past 2 games, can kind of take that information and go into this final game with that and outplay, hopefully.
Right.
And
All three
same
of
thing
these
with
guys were
Moxie
really
too.
close.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of caught the tail end of game 1, but even that seemed super close as well.
Right.
I think both of these players have the opportunity to just outplay their opponent. And I think that's just how this format works as well. I think it's a lot of like outplaying your opponent, like regardless of team choice. Like there's a Frostmoth in this team. I think if you're outplaying your opponent and you understand what you're doing and what the meta is and like how the opponent's Pokemon kind of work together, you can just kind of outplay your opponent. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Series 2 right now.
That's an amazing thing about Series 2.
How do you feel about Paradox Pokemon though? Do you like them? Do you hate them?
I enjoy Paradox Pokemon.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Are you a Violet guy or a Scarlet guy?
I'm a Violet guy.
Violet.
I'm a
Okay,
Violet guy.
so the future Pokemon.
I do go my future.
I do love me some Iron Bundle action, but I gotta go with Scarlet. I like Fluttermane way too much. Also, like big Brute Bonnet fan.
But
I love all the like ancient Pokemon.
this is the first game ever where Delibird is violently competitive.
Well, it's not Delibird, it's Iron Bundle. People would fight you on that.
Look, future Delibird.
Future Delibird, sure, we could go with that.
Look,
But look, Amogus has been viable in every format that I've played in. So to have it another form, an offensive form, so my Game Freak was just like, yeah, I'm gonna give this thing an insanely high attack stat. I'm gonna give it garbage typing, but I'm gonna give it insanely high attack stat. And with like an item like Loaded Dice, you could just like bullet see things.
right.
Oh, we are gonna have a weird error here. It might be the LAN as well. If they want to look into the error code as well. But
They might try to put them.
yeah, it should be done through LAN, but we're gonna find out very soon what the deal is.
Right.
But at an esports like arena, right? It's funny when you have a local like LAN disconnect.
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't allow them to connect to the internet at this point.
Yeah, well, it depends, right? Because even you want to play on LAN just so it's a more stable connection. And like I said before, Zang has Perish Song on his phone, which is super interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's a lot of like I haven't seen Garganacl in a while, like at least from what I've been playing. It's like on a couple teams.
It's
but,
on or off.
Yeah, it has to be on the right team, I think. Like before at the very start of Series 2, I think people were just splashing Garganacl and everything. They're like, oh yeah, Luca just won this tournament with Garganacl. This Pokemon is underrated. It's so good. Da 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 da. And now people are just like, they were splashing on everything, and it just was not the right call. Like you have to know what you're doing with it. Like I said, the player diff, and it has to belong on the right team. So we are going to see a game reset here, potentially maybe fix the error codes and try to head into this game 3.
Funny enough, I haven't seen Fluttermane with Parasong until after Orlando's regional.
Yeah, well, I think for the Orlando regional, I think Parasong was the call, as we saw from Wolfie. Yeah. Parasong being a super viable strategy. It's like, I don't care about your bulk. I don't care about your offense. I'm just going to press Parasong and protect.
Right.
And what are you going to do about it? Because like a lot of the teams in Orlando, for example, didn't have the like offensive pressure to break like an Amoonguss and a Screamtail, as well as fake out pressure from the Gothitelle. With Heal Pulse. Do I think we're going to see Screamtail today? I think there might be one person who runs like Wolfie's team, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pilot to the same degree. Like I said, it was a player diff. That's no offense to anybody running the Wolfie team, but I do think Wolfie is a very skilled player who is just able to like elevate Perish to the max.
Right.
And we are going to see them pick the rules here and actually match up this time.
Hey.
I'm really interested though to see how they maneuver this game 3, because on a game 3, right, you're not committed to the same leads and stuff like before. Now you have the opportunity to just like have a fresh start and have fresh leads and be able to navigate this game differently depending on the game plan you came up with in your head in games 1 and 2.
Right. I wish to see Frostmoth in this game coming up.
I don't think Frostmoth is coming to this game.
Sadly, but
It's dying to the Arcanine. It's dying to the hands. Flutter Mage is doing a lot of damage. Honestly, I don't know when you bring it, but hopefully if Moxie does show up on stream again, I'm really interested to see on stream as well. And we are going to see Moxie. He locked in so fast. I didn't get to see that when he locked in.
I feel like you brought the same form as last game.
Yeah, I think the 4 were correct. You kind of like, again, with a Baxcalibur and a Flutter Mane and a bundle, all threatening super effective damage in your Salamence, it's really, really awkward to bring.
And then Frostmoth is also
same thing with the Frostmoth. So maybe what Zang might do with that information as well is he might say, okay, yeah, I know you can't bring the Frostmoth. I know you're not bringing the Salamence. I know you're going to bring these 4 Pokemon. Just what way are you going to lead them?
Right.
And it's kind of Zang has kind of the advantage there in that information game where he can know that and position his team accordingly.
Right.
And we are going to see Zang finally lock in, and we are going to head into our game 3 of round 1 at the Belong Philly Local. Communicating for a long time.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to jinx it, but
What?
all right, we are going to see a change in leads and a double ice lead. That's actually a so cool color combination, like the silver and blue. Oh my god! But the Baxcalibur and Iron Bundle are going to be on lead here against the King Gambit and Amoonguss. Moxie kind of realizing, yeah, I need King Gambit to threaten whatever my opponent brings out. Like it's good in everything but hands, right? But that's what your Amoonguss is for, and you kind of force that Grass Terra super early.
Right.
And I didn't realize, but his Amoonguss is Psychic Terrestrialization, something you never see. That's not even a rare. That's you just never see that. We are going to see the King Gambit go for, I believe, an Iron Head here. And a Terrestrialization onto the Baxcalibur into a Water type, potentially avoiding that Iron Head into that slot. It's kind of up to Zang to decide, and threat assess and be like, okay, what does Moxie really want to target down here? Does he want to get rid of my bundle? Does he want to get rid of my Excalibur? He's going to go to freeze dry into that Amoonguss slot, which does protect.
Right.
Honestly, Zang might be doubled. Yeah, he doubled into the Amoonguss. So that's a huge protect for Moxie there. Avoiding all damage this turn and getting a free Iron Head in the bundle.
Yep, he's shipping on
and that's exactly what I was talking about before. The bundle there has a high defense. And even though it has a booster energy and no sash, it doesn't matter. But because of that defense, it actually eats an Iron Head from King Gambit, which is insane to think about. Being an ice type and being weak to that move.
Man, they buffed ice types this generation.
Yeah, and now, honestly, I think Moxie's in an amazing position because Iron Bundle has that booster energy, but when you switch out, it actually loses that booster energy boost. So it won't be able to outspeed that Rotom Heat, and it could just go for a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt, potentially in a late game scenario.
Yep. And that's like the downside of running booster energies.
Yeah, you kind of have to position it smartly as well, because if you position that speed boost poorly and you have to switch out Bundle, like maybe in this scenario, you're losing a lot of speed. He's going to switch out the Bundle, though, because you kind of do need it. And it is going to be an Iron Hands here.
But here comes the Terra.
Potentially.
Not potentially.
Oh, he does go for the Terra. Is this into the Amoonguss?
Yeah, this is the Amoonguss.
Oh my god, a Psychic type Amoonguss on stream. This is amazing. So it is going to be able to eat that Excalibur Icicle Spear, which is insane to think about. Oh, it does go for a Glaive Rush. Maybe calling a Terra potentially. Now Rocky Helmet doing chip. Low kick into Excalibur. Oh, that's not a crit.
That's just
so if he didn't terrestrialize there, it just would have killed.
Because of the rush.
Yeah. Oh, so Glaive Rush actually, after using the move, the Pokemon takes double damage.
Yes.
Wow. That's
was
insane.
Moxie did an
amazing play for Moxie there. Knowing maybe that like terrestrializing, right? And be like, okay, yeah, you could Glaive Rush or you could Icicle Spear. Either way, my Amoonguss is going to eat it and I'm going to be doing a lot of damage. I think the low kick was a 2-hit KO anyways, but the amount of damage that did is not favorable for the back Scalibur at all. And now that the hands is asleep, that's kind of like the downside of running grass terrestrialization like Iron Hands is, again, is a positioning thing. So if you don't terrestrialize your hands, you could just get spored like we just saw there. And the back Scalibur is just going to go for protect and maybe read a potential sucker punch.
I don't blame him because
Yeah, you kind of want the back Scalibur alive. It's kind of rough. He was just going to go for a low kick in the hands, not even bothering playing that game. I think Zang's game plan, though, right now is like, I kind of have to protect my back Scalibur,
Right.
kind of potentially, hopefully, like Moxie misplays or something. I need my hands to wake up. I need it to press. Now that he's wasted the terrestrialization too on the King Gambit, if he could potentially get rid of this Amoonguss as well, back Scalibur being faster than the Amoonguss, if he just goes for a Glaive Rush and like a Drain Punch into the King Gambit, Moxie could be put in an awkward situation since the hands will pick up the KO on the
okay, he's
on the King Gambit.
protecting. He's protecting the King Gambit with Amoonguss.
And I respect that play as well. Just again, if the hands wakes up, but it's also awkward, right? Because you don't, if you protect, right, you don't want the hands to wake up and just or burn another turn of sleep.
Here comes the switch.
The bundle is going to switch out here.
Okay. Sacrificing the Iron Bundle.
It is just going to go for a Rage Powder. I don't necessarily know what Moxie was kind of doing this play. Oh wait, no, he did go for an Iron Head. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I thought he went for protect. You said.
King Gambit's AV.
Yeah. So how would he? Okay.
I said.
Well, oh, see, and he does get the wake up, and he does just go for the Drain Punch. So that play makes a lot more sense. That redacting what I just said, that the Rage Powder makes a lot more sense since he didn't grass terrestrialize either, and he did burn on the back Scalibur. He doesn't even have the opportunity to go for that grass terrestrialization, and he's just kind of walled by this Amoonguss now. Like he could go for Thunder Punches, but he can switch it out and regain that HP, and it's kind of awkward. But here comes the Flutter Mane, which doesn't want to be facing down a King Gambit. But I think that like
doesn't want to face
Moxie,
it either.
yeah, like that's the sad thing about like the Psychic Terrestrialization is, okay, yeah, I'm gonna switch out so I don't eat the Shadow Ball, but it's like you don't really want to eat the Drain Punch either. You're gonna die to the Drain Punch. Flutter Mane is Sash, so even on a crit, like the Sucker Punch brings Flutter Mane down to Sash, and you're usually always losing a Amoonguss or whatever Pokemon you're switching is taking lots of damage.
Right.
King Gambit is his only switching, I think.
And this is a risky play too because Flutter Mane obviously is going to move first.
Exactly.
And Iron Hands is going to target King Gambit.
Exactly.
Which could possibly double kill.
So whatever Moxie has or chooses to do here, it's going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I think that's what Moxie has to just understand and kind of respect here. But Zang isn't in the best position either. Bundle dying there, I don't know if that was the best thing, and back Scalibur being at 1 HP. It has Ice Shard though, so maybe in a potential like low HP situation, Ice Shard could clutch out, but we'll have to see. Oh, so he does go for Shadow Ball. That's crazy there. Does Drain Punch? Oh, and it does pick up it does pick up the Rotom. That's actually super unfortunate as well because I think Zang was like, okay, yeah, I know you're going to protect your Amoonguss, or yeah, you might Rage Powder, but I'm going to make you do that. If you go for a Protect, whatever slot you switch out to, it's just going to die.
Right.
So it's just like he has to position it there, and it was kind of awkward. But losing Rotom, I don't think is necessarily the best thing. It's not the worst because you still have your Great Tusk here, and you could just shoot off like a massive Earthquake. Since Hands doesn't have that grass terrestrialization, it's not going to be able to resist it. And since it has the Sash, Flutter Mane won't be able to KO back either. So Zang has some options to think about here on this turn. Does Moxie switch out the Amoonguss though is the big thing, right? Is because like, do you want the HP back? It's locked into that Psychic Terrestrialization, so it's like you're always eating a Shadow Ball potentially, and it's really, really rough, I think. But the team choices and the terrestrialization choices from like Moxie are on point. This might just be a Shadow Ball. Yeah, just a Shadow Ball in that movie slot. Again, just doing damage to that slot. It's like, yeah, you kind of have to switch out a Rage Powder. It's taking damage. Yeah. You're not avoiding the damage. Right. You're never ever avoiding.
And then we see the Great Tusk about to echo Iron Hands.
It goes for a Headlong Rush. I'm not too sure how I feel about that play. You kind of want to break the Sash on that Flutter Mane, I think, right?
I disagree with it too. I do think he should have went EQ.
Yeah. Because you remember the back Scalibur's in the back, it could Ice Shard to break that break that Sash. But I get like you have the Sucker Punch potential here as well. I do actually think Moxie might be able to close out this game though. Considering Zang, well, actually, no, you know what? I do understand the headlong rush play because Earthquake, right? If it doesn't kill there, then you're kind of in a weird spot. But Great Tusk here, he's gonna kind of
When a Great Tusk attacks that though, and then AQ being 100, I'm pretty sure it's gonna kill him.
but like it's like why take the chance, right?
And then like Iron Hand was already damaged.
Yeah, but like even then, like Earthquake, say it lives at 1 HP and then Drain punches and breaks the sash. That's unfortunate.
I mean,
So I get Moxie actually for playing it safe and just kind of respecting it because he knows he's gonna die to the Ice Shard Moonblast combo anyways. So he's like, okay, I'll take the defensive Spadef drop, but in exchange, I'm gonna take your hands.
yeah, this is a really risky turn right now because it's going to be.
Well, I don't know about risky. I think Protect is always the safest play because you're King Gambit. Why even play the Sucker Punch game? I'm just going to press like Iron Head into your Flutter Mane slot probably. Just go for a Moonblast.
Yep.
No drop. Ooh, that drop is actually huge. I'm not sure how much it'll matter. Ooh. Now you have to press Sucker Punch into a slot and probably into the back Excalibur.
You gotta.
But the thing is, right, is Ice Shard is always going before Sucker Punch because of the speed tiers. Back Excalibur, I think we found out before, is faster than the King Gambit. So, like, Moxie always has to respect, like, the Ice Shard into Moonblast combo. Yep, see, here it is. That does 50% because of that drop. And then the Moonblast. Yeah, like I said. So, I think Zang played that endgame super perfectly there because what he had to do, right, is he's like, okay, I know the Tusk is going to protect. I have to protect here. And just some like there is a potential here though. Like it really depends. He has Sucker Punch to output.
Yeah, that and he's plus 2.
Yeah, he has dash. Oh man.
Yeah, see?
This is so rough because like he's
then
always
you
gonna
saw-
Iron Head here.
And then you saw how much you took from Moonblast already.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right? So Zang has Perish Song, but he's faster, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was saying there's no way.
That'd be funny though.
It would be funny.
I do think Moxie should be able to close out this game, barring like Sucker Punch shenanigans.
Right.
Like there is the potential to just like stall out his Sucker Punch by spamming Protect. Oh, another drop. Oh man. It doesn't really matter because the Flutter Mane's like defense is so bad anyways.
Yeah.
But like the Sash here, now like what Zang has to do is he just has to protect and hope he's pressing Sucker Punch every time.
Now, he could do what you said before. Parasol.
Yeah, that is an opportunity, but like there's no reason. Oh, he does just go for the Sucker Punch. He doesn't even outplay it. But that is going to be a game 3 for Moxie. Moxie is going to take the set 2-1.
Yeah.
That is not initially who I was expecting to take the set, but very well played by both of our players here. Congrats to Moxie for that round 1 win. I think that's just showing the power of King Gambit too.
Definitely.
Like that mod is insane. With AV, it ate 2 Moonblasts.
So
Potentially a third too.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can
Insane though. That is insane for our players here. And I think that was just again a really, really well played game. I'm not sure when the next round is going to be, but hopefully we will get that started soon.